The day Earth changed forever started like any other at the United Nations Space Command headquarters in Geneva. Ambassador John Miller adjusted his tie and took a deep breath. After 30 years of searching the stars, humanity had finally received a response. An alien civilization called the Zorvian Empire had made contact and agreed to meet Earth's representatives. John had spent his entire career preparing for this moment. As Earth's leading diplomat for extraterrestrial affairs, he'd practiced countless first contact scenarios, but reality proved different from all the simulations. "Ambassador, they're here," said his assistant, Beth Morris. Her voice trembled slightly. "The Zorvian ship has entered orbit." John nodded. "How's the welcome committee?" "All in position, sir. Military leaders are nervous, but following protocol. The Zorvian vessel dwarfed Earth's largest space stations. It hung above the planet like a metallic cloud, stretching nearly 5 miles from end to end. Its surface glowed with blue energy patterns that pulsed like heartbeats. When the Zorvian delegation arrived at the meeting hall, John felt a chill run down his spine. They stood nearly 8 feet tall with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors, like oil on water. Their leader wore an elaborate headpiece that seemed to float above his elongated skull. "I am High Commander Zextral of the glorious Zorvian Empire," the alien announced through a translation device. His voice sounded metallic and cold. "We acknowledge your species' achievement in reaching beyond your atmosphere." John stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we welcome you to our home. We hope this meeting begins a long friendship between our peoples." The High Commander made a clicking sound that the translator didn't catch. The aliens exchanged glances. "Friendship is a concept for equals," Zextral finally replied. "The Empire does not befriend, we incorporate." Over the next 3 days, the true nature of the Zorvian Empire revealed itself. They controlled over 70% of the Milky Way galaxy. Thousands of species served under their rule, some as citizens, most as servants, others as little more than slaves. In private meetings, the alien demands grew clear. Earth could join the Empire peacefully as a resource world, providing minerals and biological materials. Humans would be granted basic protections but no voting rights in galactic affairs. "This agreement benefits you," Zextral explained during the final negotiation session. "Your technology is primitive. Without our protection, you would fall prey to far worse species." John pushed back. "We appreciate your offer, but Earth wishes to join as a full member world with equal standing. Our species may be young, but we have much to contribute." The High Commander's skin darkened to a deep purple. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation between equals. It is an opportunity we extend to primitive worlds." "Then we must respectfully decline," John said firmly. "Humanity will make its own way in the galaxy." The Zorvian delegation left without ceremony. On their departure, Zextral delivered a final message. "Your defiance has been noted. We suggest you reconsider before we must demonstrate the consequences of refusing imperial authority." 2 days later, they showed exactly what they meant. Captain Lisa Green commanded the Mars Defense Station, humanity's first permanent military installation beyond Earth. She had just finished her morning inspection when alarms blared throughout the station. "Unidentified ships approaching, Captain," called out Lieutenant Dan Harris from the sensor station. "They match nothing in our database." Lisa rushed to the main viewport. 3 vessels approached Mars, each shaped like an arrowhead. They glowed, with the same blue energy pattern as the diplomatic ship. "Raise shields. Alert Earth Command," she ordered. "Try to hail them." Before they could act, blue energy beams struck the Martian surface. The research colony below, home to 500 scientists and their families, vanished in blinding light. They just wiped out the colony," Dan whispered in horror. Lisa gripped the command rail. "Record everything. Make sure Earth sees what happened here." The Zorvian ships turned toward the defense station next. Lisa ordered emergency evacuation, but only 3 escape pods launched before blue fire engulfed the station. Lisa's pod tumbled through space as she watched her command burn. She activated the emergency beacon and made a solemn promise. "They think this demonstration will make us submit. They're wrong. This only shows us what we're fighting against. Back on Earth, chaos erupted as news of the Mars attack spread. The United Nations held emergency sessions. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Scientists examined the limited data from the attack, desperate to understand Zorvian weapons technology. Dr. Alan Wright led the analysis team at NASA. He hadn't slept in 36 hours when he made the first breakthrough. Their energy weapons operate on principles we've theorized but never mastered, he explained to military officials. They're manipulating the fundamental forces that hold matter together. General Sam Peters leaned forward. Can we defend against this? Alan rubbed his tired eyes. Maybe. With time. What's more interesting is this debris analysis. He pointed to strange metal fragments recovered from Mars orbit. Their ship materials respond to electrical signals in ways I've never seen. Almost like they're partially alive. In Washington, D.C., world leaders gathered to form the United Human Defense Coalition. President William Carter addressed the emergency assembly. Today, humanity faces its greatest challenge. An alien empire has attacked without provocation, killing innocent people and destroying our Martian colony. They believe this demonstration will force our surrender. He paused, his face grim. They are mistaken. The vote was unanimous. Earth would not submit to Zorvian demands. Instead, all nations would pool resources to defend humanity. Lisa Green's escape pod was recovered 3 days after the attack. As the sole survivor from Mars, she became the face of human resistance. When she walked into the coalition's first strategic meeting, the room fell silent. Captain Green, General Peters said, we're planning our response options. Lisa looked at the gathered leaders. There's only one option. We fight. The Zorvian Empire thinks we're weak, primitive creatures who will bow down after one show of force. We need to prove them wrong. Dr. Wright presented his preliminary findings on Zorvian technology. Their advantage is significant, but not insurmountable. With focused research, we can close the gap. As the meeting concluded, President Carter signed the official formation documents for the United Human Defense Coalition. We've always wondered if we were alone in the universe, he said quietly. Now we know we're not. And we know not all who travel the stars come in peace. Lisa stood at the window, looking up at the night sky. They think they know humans, she whispered. They have no idea what we're capable of when threatened. Across Earth, factories converted to military production. Research labs focused solely on space defense technology. Recruitment centers opened as millions volunteered to fight. The war for humanity's future had begun. 5 years passed since the attack on Mars. Earth had changed in ways few could have imagined. Cities now had shield generators rising above their skylines. Space elevators connected the ground to orbital defense platforms. The once competing nations worked together with single-minded purpose. Dr. Alan Wright stood in his underground laboratory, surrounded by strange equipment derived from Zorvian technology. Dark circles marked his eyes from years of little sleep. On the wall hung a picture of the destroyed Mars colony, his daily reminder of what they fought for. Any progress? Asked Captain Lisa Green as she entered the lab. Her uniform now bore the insignia of the United Human Defense Coalition. The scar across her cheek had faded, but would never disappear completely. Alan nodded toward a glowing device in the center of the room. This is the breakthrough we've been waiting for. We call it Project Prometheus. Lisa approached the device. It looked like a sphere with blue energy swirling inside. What does it do? It manipulates stellar energy, Alan explained. The Zorvians use similar technology to power their ships, but we've pushed the concept further. He took a deep breath. Theoretically, this could trigger controlled reactions within stars. Lisa's eyes widened. You mean we could? Yes. With a large enough version, we could potentially destabilize a star, even cause a supernova. The implications hung in the air between them. Such power could change the course of the war. In another section of the facility, Dr. Kate Johnson worked with captured Zorvian technology. She had discovered something remarkable 2 years earlier, Human neural patterns could interface with and sometimes override Zorvian systems. Their technology responded to thought in ways machine language couldn't block. Lieutenant Harris, try again. She instructed a young soldier strapped to monitoring equipment. Focus on the control node. Steve Harris concentrated, his forehead beaded with sweat. The Zorvian device on the table glowed brighter, then changed from blue to green. Perfect, Kate exclaimed. You've bypassed their security protocols. Steve relaxed, exhausted from the mental effort. How long until we can use this in combat? Soon, Kate promised. We've almost perfected the neural amplifiers. With them, a trained operator could potentially take control of Zorvian ships. Above the Earth, Admiral Olivia Taylor inspected humanity's first true battle fleet, 20 ships built with reverse-engineered alien technology. They weren't as advanced as Zorvian vessels, but they represented humanity's best hope. Her flagship, the EDF Defender, measured half a mile long. Its weapon systems combined human innovation with alien science. Most importantly, its crew had trained for years in space combat simulations. Admiral, we've received intelligence from our deep space probes, her second-in-command reported. We've located 3 Zorvian outposts near the Epsilon Eridani system. Olivia studied the data. Since the Mars attack, the Zorvians had established multiple forward bases in nearby star systems, preparing for full invasion of Earth. Until now, humanity had been too weak to challenge them. Prepare the fleet, she ordered. It's time to show them humans can strike back. In Geneva, UHDC Chairman Frank Martinez presented the battle plan to Earth's Leadership Council. Admiral Taylor will lead our first offensive operation. Lieutenant Harris and his Special Forces team will deploy first to gather intelligence and sabotage their communications. President Carter, now in his second term specifically to oversee the war effort, asked the question on everyone's mind. What are our chances? Better than they think, Frank replied. The Zorvians believe we're still licking our wounds. They don't know how much we've learned from their technology. They don't expect us to fight beyond our solar system. The mission launched 3 days later. Steve Harris and his team traveled aboard a captured Zorvian scout ship. They looked nothing like they had 5 years ago. Their bodies were enhanced with subtle implants. Neural interfaces connected their minds directly to their weapons and equipment. Approaching the first outpost, Steve informed his team as they dropped out of faster than light. Travel. Remember, we need to plant the disruptors and get out. No heroics. The small team infiltrated the Zorvian outpost using access codes extracted from captured data. The aliens never expected humans to reach their territory, much less understand their security systems. Steve placed disruptors at key points throughout the facility. These devices would temporarily disable Zorvian shields when activated. His team worked quickly and silently, avoiding patrols of 8-foot aliens. Final disruptor placed, Steve whispered into his comm. Everyone back to the ship. They escaped just before the alarm sounded. As their stolen ship raced away from the outpost, Steve sent the signal to Admiral Taylor. Package delivered. Strike packages go. The human battle fleet arrived hours later. The 3 Zorvian outposts, suddenly finding their shields disabled, faced the full fury of humanity's vengeance. Admiral Taylor directed the assault from the Defender's bridge. Target their power cores, she ordered. Don't give them time to recover. The battle lasted less than an hour. All 3 outposts were destroyed. When the final explosion faded, cheers erupted across the human fleet. Send word to Earth, Olivia instructed her communications officer. First offensive successful, all objectives achieved. For the first time, the Zorvian Empire realized humans were more dangerous than they had assumed. Their mistake had been thinking Earth would remain defensive, cowering behind its borders. High Commander Zexatral received the news with rage. His skin turned deep crimson as he smashed a display table. How did they reach our outposts? How did they disable our shields? His military advisors had no satisfying answers. The humans had evolved too quickly, adapted too cleverly. Prepare the main fleet, Zexatral ordered. We will crush this rebellion before it spreads. No more demonstrations. Total eradication. Back on Earth, The victory celebration was tempered with caution. In the UHDC war room, new intelligence reports arrived showing massive Zorvian fleet movements. "They're coming in full force now," Frank Martinez told the assembled leaders. "Our victory hurt their pride. They won't underestimate us again." Lisa Green, now promoted to commander, studied the projections. "We've proven we can hurt them, but we're not ready for their main fleet." Alan Wright cleared his throat. "Then, we accelerate Project Prometheus. If we can't match their numbers, we'll need a weapon they truly fear." As the meeting adjourned, Lisa found herself standing next to Kate Johnson. The scientist looked troubled. "Something wrong?" Lisa asked. Kate hesitated. "The Zorvian prisoners we've studied. Their minds are connected somehow, part of a shared consciousness. When we killed those outpost crews, the entire Empire felt it. We've awakened something terrible." "We had no choice," Lisa replied. "It's us or them now." Across the void of space, the largest Zorvian fleet ever assembled prepared to move against Earth. The real war was about to begin. War spread across the stars. What began as a conflict over one small planet had erupted into battles spanning dozens of systems. The Zorvian Empire had never faced such resistance from a supposedly primitive species. Their usual tactics of overwhelming force met unexpected resistance at every turn. Commander Paul Davis crouched behind a fallen pillar on the moon of Kepler 62F. His guerrilla squad had spent 3 weeks hiding in the ruins of an ancient alien city, waiting for this moment. A Zorvian supply convoy passed overhead, heading for their forward base. "Team 2 in position," came the whispered voice through his neural comm. "Team 3 ready," another voice confirmed. Paul checked his weapon, a hybrid of human ingenuity and stolen alien tech. "Execute on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." Explosions lit up the night sky as hidden charges detonated along the convoy route. The lead ships crashed into the barren landscape. Before the Zorvians could respond, human fighters emerged from hiding places and opened fire. The battle lasted 12 minutes. When it ended, the convoy lay in ruins and Paul's team had captured vital supplies and intelligence. "Package secured," Paul reported as his soldiers loaded stolen Zorvian technology onto their ships. "Heading to extraction point." Similar raids happened across the frontier between human and Zorvian space. Humanity couldn't match the Empire's numbers, but they excelled at hit-and-run tactics that frustrated the alien commanders. Back on Earth, Dr. Alan Wright and Dr. Kate Johnson worked day and night on Project Prometheus. The orbital testing facility around Jupiter provided isolation for their dangerous experiments. "Energy containment holding at 97%, Kate reported, monitoring the readouts from their latest test. "That's our best result yet." Alan studied the small star simulator they had constructed. Inside the reinforced chamber, a miniature sun burned with controlled fury. Their device, now the size of a small car, orbited the artificial star. "Initiating pulse sequence," Alan said, activating the next test phase. The Prometheus device glowed, briefly. Inside the test chamber, the artificial star flickered, then suddenly contracted before expanding dramatically. "My God," Kate whispered. "It worked. We actually affected stellar dynamics." Alan couldn't hide his mix of pride and terror. If the scaled calculations are correct, a full-sized version could trigger a stellar reaction visible across half the galaxy. In deep space, the human colony on Alpha Centauri faced the Empire's wrath. 3 massive Zorvian battleships had arrived 2 days earlier, establishing a blockade that prevented supplies from reaching the colony's 2 million inhabitants. Governor Jane Wilson addressed her frightened people from the colonial administration building. "Help is coming. Earth hasn't abandoned us. We need to remain strong and ration our supplies carefully." But privately, she knew the situation was dire. Their defense systems couldn't repel a determined attack, and food supplies would last only 3 more weeks. The Zorvian ships began orbital bombardment on the 3rd day. They targeted infrastructure rather than population centers, a calculated move to increase suffering without immediate casualties. "They want us to surrender," Jane told her Security Council. "They want to make an example of us to other human colonies." The colony's distress calls reached Earth 8 days later. Admiral Olivia Taylor immediately requested permission to lead a rescue fleet. Alpha Centauri is our oldest and largest colony, she argued before the UHDC Council. If it falls, other colonies will lose hope. Chairman Frank Martinez looked troubled. The Zorvians know it's important to us. They've positioned their main battle group between here and Alpha Centauri. It could be a trap. Then we need a distraction, Commander Lisa Green suggested. Something to draw away their forces. The plan came together quickly. While Admiral Taylor prepared a relief fleet for Alpha Centauri, Captain Steve Harris, recently promoted for his successful operations, would lead a bold mission elsewhere. Steve and his Special Forces team boarded their stealth ship, a vessel, incorporating the best human and Zorvian technology. Its hull absorbed light and sensor scans, making it nearly invisible. Our target is the Zorvian research station in the Procyon system, Steve briefed his team. Intelligence suggests they're holding human prisoners there for experimentation. We get in, free the prisoners, plant charges, and get out. The mission launched with little fanfare. As they approached Procyon, the true horror of what awaited became clear. The research station orbited the system's outer gas giant, a massive facility dedicated to understanding human biology. Approaching Docking Bay 7, reported his pilot Linda Rogers. Security systems bypassed using the codes from our last raid. Steve led his team through the station's sterile corridors. They encountered light resistance. The Zorvians had never expected humans to reach this secure facility so deep in their territory. They found the prisoners in a large laboratory section. Hundreds of humans in stasis pods lined the walls. Medical equipment extracted samples from their unconscious bodies. Begin evacuation procedures, Steve ordered, his voice tight with controlled rage. Team 2, plant charges throughout the facility. They worked to free the prisoners. One of the humans regained consciousness. Her name tag identified her as Dr. Ellen Ross, captured during the fall of a research outpost 3 years earlier. They've been studying us, she whispered weakly as Steve helped her to the extraction ship. They don't understand how our minds work. They can't figure out how we interface with their tech. What do you mean? Steve asked. Their technology is partially organic, designed to respond to Zorvian neural patterns. But human minds work differently. We can override their systems in ways they can't block. She gripped his arm. They're afraid of us. They think we're evolving too quickly. The rescue mission succeeded, freeing over 300 human prisoners. As their ships jumped away from Procyon, the research station erupted in flames behind them. Meanwhile, Admiral Taylor's fleet engaged the Zorvian forces near Alpha Centauri. The battle was fierce, with losses on both sides. But the gambit worked. Enough Zorvian ships diverted to Procyon following the attack that the blockade weakened enough for supply ships to reach the colony. On Earth, Chairman Martinez received disturbing news from deep space observatories. A massive Zorvian fleet is assembling near Betelgeuse, the report stated. Preliminary estimates suggest over 500 warships. Lisa Green studied the intelligence with growing concern. This isn't just another battle group. This is an extinction fleet, Frank nodded gravely. They're preparing to end this war once and for all. In the Project Prometheus facility, Alan and Kate worked frantically to complete the full-size device. Their latest breakthrough had come from studying the neural interfaces recovered from the Procyon mission. If we integrate these systems, Kate explained, a human operator could control the device with unprecedented precision. Alan looked at the nearly completed Prometheus weapon. We're talking about giving one person the power to ignite a star. The responsibility is unimaginable. We may not have a choice, Kate replied softly. Not if we want humanity to survive. The Zorvian extinction fleet prepared to move toward Earth, humanity faced its darkest hour. Their only hope rested with a weapon so terrible even its creators feared using it. The war room fell silent as the holographic display showed the approaching Zorvian extinction fleet. 500 warships moved in perfect formation toward the Sol system. Earth had only 78 ships to meet them. We've run every possible simulation, Admiral Olivia Taylor said, breaking the silence. Standard tactics won't work. We can't win a direct confrontation. Chairman Frank Martinez looked around the table at Earth's military and political leaders. Then we need a different approach. What's the status of Project Prometheus? Dr. Alan Wright stepped forward. The device is complete. We've installed it on the EDF Defiance, our newest and fastest ship. Can it really do what you claim? Asked President Carter. Can it actually trigger a supernova? Alan nodded slowly. The theory is sound. The small-scale tests were successful. The full-sized device should be able to destabilize a star's fusion reaction, causing it to collapse and then explode. Lisa Green, now promoted to captain and selected to command the Defiance, spoke up. The weapon gives us leverage, but we need to know where to use it. That's when Susan Martinez, head of Earth's intelligence network and Frank's younger sister, joined the conversation. We believe we've located the Zorvian homeworld. She activated a separate display showing a star system near Rigel. Our analysis of communication patterns and supply routes points to this system, 7 planets, with the third one showing signs of massive development. We believe this is the heart of their empire. A plan began to form. While the main human fleet engaged the Zorvian extinction force near Saturn to slow their advance, the Defiance would make a dangerous journey through enemy territory to reach the Rigel system. Construction crews worked around the clock to prepare the Defiance for its mission. The ship represented humanity's most advanced technologies. Its engines could achieve speeds no human vessel had reached before. At its core sat the Prometheus device, connected to a specially designed control room. Captain Lisa Green toured her, new command with Dr. Kate Johnson, who would operate the device. The neural interface is installed here, Kate explained, showing Lisa a chair surrounded by complex equipment. When activated, my mind will connect directly to the device. I'll be able to control the stellar manipulation with precision. Lisa studied the setup with concern. What's the risk to you? Kate hesitated. The mental strain will be significant, but I've trained for this. The day of departure arrived too soon. The Defiance crew gathered in the main hangar as chairman. Martinez delivered a final address. The fate of humanity rests with you, he told them solemnly. Your mission is not one of destruction, but of leverage. Get to the Zorvian homeworld and show them we have the power to destroy their civilization. Force them to negotiate. As the crew boarded, Captain Harris approached Lisa. His Special Forces team would provide security for the mission. Ready for this? He asked quietly. Lisa looked at the Defiance. Not really, but we're out of options. The ship departed Earth orbit under cover of darkness. Their route would take them through less traveled regions of space, avoiding main Zorvian patrol areas. If all went well, they would reach Rigel before the extinction fleet reached Earth. Meanwhile, Admiral Taylor positioned her forces near Saturn. Her job was to buy time, to slow the Zorvian advance long enough for the Defiance to complete its mission. All ships, battle formations, she ordered as the enemy fleet appeared at the edge of the system. Remember your training. Make every shot count. The battle began with a massive exchange of fire. Human ships darted between the larger Zorvian vessels, using their smaller size and greater maneuverability as advantages. But the alien numbers were overwhelming. We've lost the Jakarta and the Cairo, reported Olivia's tactical officer as explosions lit up the viewport. Maintain formation, she ordered, even as her flagship shuddered from a direct hit. We need to hold them here as long as possible. The Defiance raced through space, pushing its engines beyond recommended limits. They had one advantage. The Zorvians had committed so many ships to the Earth assault that their normal patrol routes were thinned. Still, they encountered resistance. 3 days into their journey, sensors detected approaching vessels. Zorvian, cruisers bearing 270, the tactical officer announced. They've spotted us. Lisa made a quick decision. Evasive maneuvers. We can't afford to be delayed. The Defiance changed course, diving toward a nearby nebula. The Zorvian ships followed, firing energy weapons that illuminated the gas clouds. One blast struck the human ship's rear section. Engineering reports damage to secondary systems, Steve Harris reported from his station. Shields holding at 60%. Lisa gripped her command chair. Return fire, target their propulsion systems. The battle lasted 14 minutes. The Defiance destroyed one Zorvian cruiser and damaged another before breaking away at maximum speed, but they had taken damage. "We need to make repairs," the chief engineer reported. The containment field around the Prometheus device was affected by that last hit. They found shelter in an asteroid field to make needed repairs. As crews worked to fix the damage, Kate monitored the device anxiously. "The core systems are stable," she told Lisa, "but we had a close call. If the containment field had failed completely, the device could have activated prematurely." News from Earth grew worse with each passing day. Admiral Taylor's fleet fought bravely but was being pushed back steadily. Half of her ships had been destroyed or disabled. The Zorvians continued their advance toward Earth. After 8 days of dangerous travel, the Defiance finally reached the Rigel system. The sensors confirmed Susan's intelligence. The third planet housed a massive civilization with orbital structures, indicating advanced development. "That's definitely their homeworld," Steve said as they observed from the edge of the system. "Look at those cities. They cover entire continents." Lisa felt the weight of responsibility as she issued her next orders. "Move us into position near their star. Prepare to deploy the Prometheus device." The Defiance approached Rigel cautiously, using the star's radiation to mask their presence. When they reached the optimal position, Lisa opened a communication channel to the planet. "This is Captain Lisa Green of the Earth Defense Force vessel Defiance. I demand to speak with the Zorvian High Command immediately." For several minutes there was no response. Then a familiar face appeared on the main screen. High Commander Zexatral himself. "You dare to enter the sacred home system of the Empire?" He snarled. "Your primitive vessel will be destroyed." Lisa remained calm. "Before you try, you should know we've deployed a weapon beside your star. We call it the Prometheus device. It has the power to trigger a supernova reaction that would destroy this entire system." Zextral's skin shifted colors rapidly. "Impossible. No species possesses such technology." "The same way it was impossible for humans to reach your homeworld," Lisa countered. "The same way it was impossible for us to interface with your technology? You've underestimated us from the beginning." She nodded to Kate, who activated a preliminary sequence. The Prometheus device powered up, sending a visible energy pulse into Rigel. The star flickered noticeably. "That was a demonstration," Lisa explained. "The next sequence will begin an unstoppable chain reaction. Your star will collapse and then explode, destroying everything in this system." For the first time since first contact, Lisa saw something new in a Zorvian's expression. Fear. "You would destroy yourselves as well," Zextral said, but his voice lacked conviction. "We're prepared to die to save our world," Lisa replied. "Are you prepared to sacrifice your entire civilization because of your pride?" High Commander Zextral's image vanished from the screen without another word. For several tense minutes, the bridge of the Defiance remained silent. "They're mobilizing their home defense fleet," reported the sensor officer. 20 ships approaching. "Our position." Lisa looked at Kate. "Is the device ready for the next stage?" Kate nodded, her hands hovering over the neural interface controls. "Yes, but once we start the sequence, we'll have only minutes to stop it before the reaction becomes irreversible. We need to show them we're serious," Lisa said. "Prepare to initiate stage 1. Steve Harris moved to stand beside her. "Captain, if this doesn't work, then Earth falls," Lisa finished his thought. "And we take the Zorvian homeworld with us." The approaching alien ships formed a defensive ring around their position. More communication requests flooded in, but not from Zex's trawl. Other Zorvian officials were trying to make contact. "Put them through," Lisa ordered. A different Zorvian appeared on screen, older than Zex's trawl with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer with deeper intelligence. "I am Senior Scientist Vexnara of the Imperial Science Council," the alien said. "We request time to verify your claims about this device." Lisa shook her head. "You've had years to negotiate peacefully. Now you get a demonstration instead." She signaled to Kate. "Begin stage 1. Kate connected to the neural interface. Her body went rigid as her mind linked with the Prometheus device. On the main screen, they watched as the device released a controlled pulse of energy, directly into the star. The effect was immediate and visible. Rigel's surface erupted with solar flares 100 times larger than normal. Its color shifted, slightly, becoming darker at its core. Releasing containment field by 10%, Kate reported, her voice strained from the mental connection. Stellar reaction is proceeding as predicted. Vex Nara's expression changed as data flooded in from Zorvian observatories. This is impossible. You've induced an artificial fusion bottleneck in our star. The process will accelerate, Lisa explained. In approximately 3 hours, your star will collapse and then explode as a supernova. Nothing in this system will survive. Frantic communication flashed between the Zorvian ships and their homeworld. Sensors showed increased activity on the planet. Evacuation procedures starting. Though Lisa knew they could never evacuate an entire civilization in 3 hours. Incoming transmission from the surface, the communications officer announced. It appears to be their ruling council. The screen split to show 7 elderly Zorvians seated in an ornate chamber. Their skin colors ranged across the spectrum, indicating their different roles in Zorvian society. I am High Elder Kolvex of the Imperial Council, announced the central figure. Your actions threaten billions of lives. This is beyond warfare. This is genocide. Lisa remained firm. You attacked our world without provocation. You plan to wipe out our species. We're simply using the only leverage we have. What are your demands? Another council member asked. Complete withdrawal of all Zorvian forces from Earth space. Recognition of human sovereignty. A formal peace treaty between our civilizations. The council members conferred among themselves. Meanwhile, sensor readings from Rigel grew more alarming. Stage 1 is progressing faster than expected, Kate warned, her face pale with strain. The star's magnetic field is destabilizing. Suddenly, the view screen changed again. High Commander Zexitral appeared, but not from the council chamber. He was on the bridge of a warship. I will not allow primitives to dictate terms to the Empire, he snarled. If our star dies, we will take your ship with it. His warship broke formation, accelerating toward the Defiance with weapons charging. Evasive maneuvers, Lisa ordered. Maintain position near the star. The Defiance dodged the initial attack, but Zextral's ship pursued relentlessly. Energy, beams struck their shields, dropping them to dangerous levels. We can't take another direct hit, the tactical officer warned. Before Zexitral could fire again, 3 other Zorvian vessels moved to intercept him. They positioned themselves between his warship and the Defiance. Stand down, Commander, High Elder Kolvex ordered. The Council has voted. We must verify their claims before any further action. Zextral ignored the order. His ship maneuvered around the blocking vessels and prepared to fire again. But before he could, his own ships opened fire, disabling his weapons systems. This is treason, he shouted as his ship drifted powerless. This is survival, Kolvex replied simply. He turned his attention back to Lisa. Our scientists confirm your device is affecting our star in ways we cannot counter. We request you halt the process while we negotiate. Lisa looked at Kate. Can we stop it now? Kate nodded, sweat beading on her forehead from the mental strain. Yes, but I need to do it carefully. An abrupt shutdown could trigger the very reaction we're threatening. Proceed, Lisa ordered. While Kate worked to stabilize the star, more Zorvian officials arrived. An emergency conference began between the human and Zorvian representatives. Hours passed as Kate slowly reversed the stellar reaction. The mood on the bridge remained tense. Everyone knew they were still deep in enemy territory, surrounded by hostile forces. Finally, Rigel's readings returned to normal parameters. Kate disconnected from the neural interface, nearly collapsing. From exhaustion, it's done, she whispered. The star is stable again. Meanwhile, in the ship's conference room, Lisa received an urgent message from Earth. Admiral Taylor's fleet had been on the verge of destruction when the Zorvian Extinction Force suddenly stopped attacking. They had received new orders from their homeworld. 2 days later, Chairman Martinez and Admiral Taylor arrived at Rigel aboard Earth's fastest diplomatic vessel. They joined Lisa for the formal negotiations with the Zorvian Imperial Council. High Commander Zexitral had been removed from power, replaced by a more moderate military leader. Vexnara, the scientist who had first recognized the true danger of the Prometheus device, now served as the chief negotiator for the Zorvian side. "We underestimated your species," Vexnara admitted during the talks. "We saw your technological limitations but failed to recognize your adaptability and determination." The treaty took another 3 days to finalize. It recognized Earth's sovereignty and established boundaries for both civilizations. More importantly, it created frameworks for cultural and scientific exchange. As the human representatives prepared to return home, Vexnara approached Kate privately. "Your understanding of stellar physics surpasses our own," the Zorvian scientist said. "Would you consider sharing your research? There is much we could learn from each other." Kate smiled. "That was always our preference, cooperation instead of conflict." Back on Earth, crowds gathered to welcome the returning heroes. The Defiance landed at the newly rebuilt spaceport to thunderous applause. President Carter greeted Lisa as she descended the ramp. "You've secured humanity's future?" he told her. "What happens to the Prometheus device now?" Lisa looked back at her ship. "It's being dismantled and placed in secure storage. Some weapons are too dangerous to use, but too important to destroy completely." In the months that followed, human and Zorvian representatives established embassies on each other's worlds. Trade routes opened. Scientific delegations exchanged visits. Lisa often found herself thinking about how close both civilizations had come to destruction. One evening, while watching the sunset from her apartment window, she received an unexpected visitor, Dr. Allen. "Right. They've offered me a position at the new Joint Research Institute," he told her, "studying peaceful applications of the stellar manipulation technology." "Are you going to take it?" she asked. Allen nodded. "We nearly destroyed a star to save ourselves. Imagine what we could do if we used that knowledge to build instead." Lisa looked up at the darkening sky, knowing that among the emerging stars were both human and Zorvian worlds, no longer enemies. "Sometimes peace comes only after we prove we're willing to fight," she said quietly. "But I hope we never need to make that point again." The Prometheus device remained locked away, a reminder of how close both civilizations had come to annihilation. Its existence ensured the peace treaty would be honored, but Lisa hoped it would never again be needed. In threatening to ignite a supernova, humanity had found not just survival but a new place among the stars.